Under this cover is the realization of a dream,
The dream to be world class.
but with desi heart and soul,
It's familiar, but it's brand new.
and finally lives up to its name.
Call me the master. Cause a disaster.
Punch EV has many firsts.
The first Tata EV with the Acti.EV architecture, but it isn't pronounced that.
It's pronounced active, and that's also because it has new batteries.
You have the option of a 25 kWh battery pack and a 35 kWh pack.
That means the smallest one is more powerful than the biggest one on the Tiago EV, and the biggest one is slap bang in the middle of the two packs on the Nexon EV.
Too complex? Here, have a table. And while we're at giving you facts and figures, here is how they are all priced.
Here are some other facts and figures that you might like to know.
The low-range model has an ARAI range of 315. This, the high range, 421.
Which means you get a realistic range of about 320 maybe on the extended range version and about 200-ish on the standard one.
There is another figure though that's also important.
0 to 100 on the normal petrol Punch needed a sand clock to measure. On this, you can whip out your stopwatch.
9.5 seconds. That's just about half a second slower than the larger, more powerful Nexon. And this feels lighter and nimbler to drive.
And that's the difference between a retrofitted platform and a standard one. Despite this being about 350 kilos heavier than the normal petrol Punch, it's about 200 kilos lighter than the Nexon.
Don't get me wrong, we love the Nexon EV, love it. But this somehow feels a little bit better. It's not only fast on road, it's fast when parked too.
And by that I mean it charges quickly, 10% to 80% on a 50 kilowatt hour charger, 56 minutes. And if you're living in any sort of urban area, you know that those sort of chargers are popping up faster than. Now, one of the benchmarks that the Punch set was ride and handling. It is phenomenal, for the lack of a better term. This is heavier, as we've already mentioned. That should mean the ride quality and the handling should be a little bit compromised, but it actually isn't. I've already talked about how it feels nimble, but the ride quality, that's the very, very important thing that I was a little worried about when they moved to this new platform. Now, it isn't maybe as good as a normal petrol-powered Punch, but still, overall, apart from maybe going through a really, really sharp pump where there is a bit of a thudding noise, this thing still feels really, really well sorted, which means you can take bumps and speed breakers and other undulations without much of a worry. And with the 190 mm of ground clearance, generally you don't need to worry either.
So what else is new? You have the obvious ones, a much nicer interior, better colors too.
Now this is the top spec variant that we are driving, which means that it is completely loaded to the brim with all the bells, whistles, horns and everything else that you want to imagine. Which means it gets the big 10.25 inch infotainment screen here, which looks like a tablet that's been pasted on. And it also gets the 10.25 inch instrument cluster, which is really, really clear, high resolution, high definition, looks and feels great. Same stuff that you get in the Nexon EV, which means I really hope and pray that Tata has sorted out all the niggles by now.
You also get a rotary dial to change gears, a different console for climate control, a 360-degree camera, and my favorite feature of them all,
a new seat with bum coolers. Now look, there are some more major changes on the Punch EV as well, and by that I mean the way it looks. This new design language, that family design look, has now been put on this car as well, and it helps differentiate it from the normal Punch, which is good because the normal Punch is due for a facelift sometime either late this year or early next year. Some people like the way this looks, some people don't like the way this looks. Just like some people love this front-mounted charging port because it's easy to use, and some people hate the way it is because if by chance they do have a little bit of a crash, that's going to be a difficult and expensive little bit to maintain. There is, however, one thing I think they should have changed.
Yep, that rear end. Even something small, anything new, or even Altezza style tail lamps, a little trim piece, something.
When you compare what this costs versus the normal Punch petrol, this is 50% more expensive. In fact, the cheapest version of the Punch EV is more expensive than the most expensive Punch petrol. This isn't a Sasta EV. This is a proper EV, one you can use everywhere because it's the right size and because you don't have the constant tension of range anxiety. I am already impressed. In fact, I'm thinking in my head if this should be my next family car. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Would you get this over the Punch petrol? Would you get this as an EV, as your first EV? In fact, I think I prefer this over the